All right, Stal, let's play a game.
All right. What are we playing?
21 questions. You got 21 questions to try to guess what's in my head, the word that's in my head.
I'm really good at this game.
Okay, well, I'm better at it, too. So, word one, ready, go.
Is it a pet?
No.
Can I eat it?
Yes.
Rhubarb pie.
How did you know that?
I'm just really good at this.
Okay, another word. Ready, go.
Is it larger than a toaster?
Yes.
International Space Station?
How did you know that? That is so hard. Okay, one more word. I want to make a real hard one in my head. Ready, go.
Constantinople.
How did you... All right, let's play a different game. Hey guys, I'm Trevor.
And I'm Stallion.
And welcome to the Youth Room.
Episode 5, Game Time.
So today we have an episode sponsor, which is Go Sports. And they have provided for us this lovely item called a Slammo set.
We use Slammo in our student ministry all the time. We set these up when we go tailgating outside of our room when students arrive, and kids love it.
Yeah, awesome yard game. Students get super competitive with it. So they sent us this wonderful set, this Slammo set, and they make other things as well. But we wanted to do something fun with this.
We have a giveaway today. We're going to be giving away this set, this actual set, and we're going to give it away on our Instagram. So go ahead and check us out at the Youth Room Resources to find out the details about that giveaway. But also, we decided we would sign this Slammo set. So
one will have a Slammo set like this one.
This is the very one. So we're going to go ahead and sign it here on our show, and we're so excited that you'll be getting this. So go check us out, and you could win this.
Yeah. So also go check out at Play Go Sports on Instagram and Facebook. Go check out all they have to offer, and make sure you follow them. There's also a link below if you want to buy one of your very own Slammo sets too.
They got incredible yard games, other stuff you can check out as well. They're great.
Yeah. So this episode today that we want to talk about, of course,
is all about games.
So games, I think, are some of the most unappreciated aspects of student ministry, because either you do so much discipleship and intentional, building of students' hearts that you don't play any games and have any kind of fun, or all you do is have fun and play games. You don't do anything else.
And it's difficult for youth pastors because this is probably one of those areas where you want to do really well, you want to come up with really cool games, but it's just very time consuming. It can be very difficult.
That's right. I mean, there is something that you really got to work at. You got to really think through these things to make sure that you can have the most fun possible and really take use of whatever game you're playing.
So we tried to come up with 4 categories. These are arbitrary categories that we made up to help us think through what type of game are we doing, to think through the details, the specifics of each type of game.
Yeah, the first game that we play within our student ministry, you can play within yours, is called an upfront game. So in an upfront game, it sounds just like it is. The audience becomes the spectators, and those that you invite up front to play the game, they become the stars, and they could be the winners.
Well, or the losers, depending on the game.
They could definitely lose as well. But there's a couple things you want to keep in mind when you're playing upfront games to make them the best games possible.
The first thing that we think of whenever we do an upfront game is props. If you're going to do something on the stage, you want people all in the back to be able to see it. So anything oversized works great. If you're going to do a game that involves some type of ball, make sure you get a big giant one, a beach ball or something. Anything you can do to make people in the back be able to see it.
That's right. Make sure you understand how big is my room and how many people are actually playing. That'll help you determine the props that you need to have. Also, make sure you use your screens. You may have cameras that you could use. So whatever is happening on stage, you can put it up on the screens. You may have a title slide of the game of some kind, so everyone knows what we're playing as we're playing it. You can put that on the screen as well. So use your screens to your advantage so everybody in the room can be involved in that upfront game.
And these games are great. They build so much anticipation. The audience, as they're watching what's going on, what's happening, they get hyped up. A lot of times we'll ask them to cheer. Oftentimes we'll do guys versus girls. It just is a natural way to build energy within the room.
Yeah, you can do a time restriction too. You could have like a 60-second countdown or a 30-second countdown, so everybody in the room is excited to see what's going to happen. Can these people actually get it done up front as I'm watching them do it? So we have a couple of games that we love that are upfront games we want to introduce to you.
My favorite one is the impossible shot. Now, you've probably heard about this online or in youth pastor forums, or you've seen variations of this, but basically you come up with any type of target that you can think of and place it somewhere in your room. Now, it needs to be a little bit of a difficult shot or impossible shot. But you'll have students come up and they'll be able to try to hit it, and they can do it with balls, with darts, with Nerf guns, with Nerf bow and arrows, anything you can think of pretty much. The criteria could be just just that they were handpicked. They could be if they bring a friend, if they bring their Bible. But the goal is for them to hit that shot. And it has to be difficult, but whenever they get it, the crowd will go crazy. People will cheer. You have someone...
throw some confetti.
Have your music cue ready. This is a great way to build that anticipation, build that excitement in the room.
Another upfront game that we love is called Egg Roulette. And so you take some eggs and you hard boil half of them or some of them and you leave the rest raw. You have two people come up front and they're grabbing eggs out of the carton. They don't know which ones are hard boiled, which ones are raw, and you're having them 1, 2, 3 smack them on top of their head. So it can get really messy, or somebody can be safe by grabbing a hard boiled egg. Great upfront game, a lot of anticipation. Students love it, people go crazy. So for both of these games, we got links below so you can check them out online so you can play them in your youth room as well, upfront games.
The second type of game are group games. And these are the type of games that gets the whole entire group, the whole entire room involved in playing some type of game.
The goal is to make sure that everybody gets involved in some kind of way. So in a group game, one of the best ways to do this is actually to have them have elimination within different rounds of some kind. So everybody's playing, but as you're doing each round, some are sitting down because they're out. And then the next round, some are sitting down because they're out. In the very end, you end up with 2 who are fighting it out, and eventually you have a winner and everybody goes crazy.
And these are great because you can build upon these games. If you start out playing with 2 or 3 balls, you can add stuff. You can make it so that it becomes more difficult increasingly throughout the time. Kind of use these parameters to control the time of the game.
Yeah, you want to control the time because with as many people as you may have playing, if there's 100 kids, 50 kids, 40 kids, that's going to take time to explain the game, to play the game, and so you make sure that you're within your time frame so you're not taking up the rest of the evening as well. So some of the group games that we love to play.
My favorite is head, shoulders, knees, and cup. And again, this is from online, but you have 2 people stand facing each other. They're sitting on their knees. You place any type of cup in between them, and you yell out commands to put their hands on their heads, their shoulders, or their knees, and you can go back and forth. Head.
One of my favorite games of the year for sure.
Head, shoulders, knees, head. And you go back and forth, and finally you yell out cup, and everyone has to reach and grab the cup in front of them. Whichever student gets it first passes on to the next round.
That's right. The rest are eliminated. So great group game.
And this one's great because it keeps going, and in the end you'll have 2 finalists battling it out in front of the whole crowd. It is incredible.
One of my favorite group games is actually called crab walk soccer. It's very simple. You play
good.
soccer and everybody's crab walking as they play soccer. So you have a big ball, you have a goal on each end, and people are trying to get that ball into the goal by crab walking around the room. You can introduce other balls, have 3 or 4 going all at the same time and trying to score the goals. Have adults watching to make sure they can tell when people score so they can go crazy. Great group game. So much fun. Check out both those links below too.
Also, Trevor, there's another type of game that's illustrative game. I believe you really like these games.
Yeah, illustrative games are awesome because illustrative games, they can be a lot of fun, but they have a bit of an edge to them because you're not just having fun, but you're also learning some kind of spiritual truth or some kind of lesson within that particular game. And so when you're playing an illustrative game, you want to make sure that you are prepping highly for this particular game.
Yeah, this is probably the most important part about an illustrative game is you have to prepare well. You have to think about the variables. You have to think about explaining it really well because the outcome of the game is not only affecting the game itself, but it's affecting your teaching points, what you're going to be sharing with your students.
You got to make sure at the end of that game that you are debriefing it really well so people don't miss out on the fun that you've had, and also they don't miss out on the lesson that you've been trying to learn within that game.
One of my favorite types of illustrative games is called Helium Stick. And essentially you have the group lined up in 2 different lines facing each other, and they put their fingers out, and across all of their fingers you lay down a long piece of trim. Of course it's super light, and you tell them that their fingers cannot lose contact at any point with the trim. You say 3, 2, 1, go, and what inevitably happens is students start to raise the stick almost like it were filled with helium. They have to work together as a team, and you can teach upon this, that they have to be kind and communicating and be able to lower it together. Creates for a lot of great debrief afterwards.
Yeah, one of my favorite games too, this illustrative game, is called Minefield. You have somebody blindfolded, you have somebody else who's trying to navigate them across the floor as all kinds of things are laid out. You can have all kinds of nasty stuff they step in, whatever it is. But as they're trying to navigate, they can't see, so they got to really trust the person who's speaking to them. So this is a great game to build trust within the group or teach teamwork within the group. And so illustrative games, a lot of fun, but you can actually teach something as well.
We actually played that one with parents one time, and it was incredible to see the parents have to help the student navigate through the obstacle course.
That's right.
It was a lot of fun.
So you have upfront games, you have group games, you have illustrative games, you also have messy games. So it's not really youth ministry until you have some shaving cream and some Spam and some kind of game.
That's right. This is kind of like the backbone of youth ministry games, messy games, and there's some very, very important things to remember when it comes to this.
Yeah, first, when you're playing a messy game, make sure you don't ruin any kind of equipment. Our team, when we have water involved, they go crazy. So make sure you cover stuff up. Make sure you're far enough away from speakers or sound control boards or anything like that. Make sure you're not messing anything up when you're playing the messy game.
Another important thing is to make sure that you don't make students barf.
Yes.
I know some of us maybe think this is our revenge time, or maybe that'd be funny, but truthfully, we don't want that in our student ministry. And if we do think it's going to be a possibility, make sure you have some type of bins located close to them.
Otherwise, you might get a phone call from a parent too.
That's right.
And then lastly, make sure you clean up afterwards. You can do some really nasty games. If you don't do cleanup afterwards, your facility team is going to let you know about it. Your custodial team is going to let you know about it. Or potentially you are going to have to clean it up 2 weeks later when it's really nasty. So clean up after your messy games.
And sometimes with programming, you have to think through, hey, the show must go on. And so tarps are your best friend.
Yes.
Lay them
Get it out quick.
collect things, move it out of the way, but then go back to clean that stuff up.
That's right. So a couple of messy games that we like to play. One is called simply Piñata. So you take a piñata that is empty, don't put candy in it, instead put applesauce in it. Then people get to beat it with a stick just like you normally would in piñata, but instead of candy falling, you have applesauce everywhere.
Everywhere. That's maybe one to not play indoors. One of my favorites is with bananas and pantyhose. We actually call it banany-hose.
Banany-hose.
Makes sense. But essentially, everyone gets half a banana, they put it in their mouth, and they pull pantyhose over their head, and their goal is to push the banana out of their mouth, through the pantyhose, and out onto the floor or wherever. But the truth is, the banana doesn't actually travel through the pantyhose. It just starts to make their way all over their face.
It just smears.
It is a mess, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so for all of these games, whether it's an upfront game, a group game, illustrative game, or a messy game, a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, make sure you are clear in your instruction. You want to make sure any students who are participating, they don't feel like a fool up there because they have no idea what's going on. They know how to play the game because you've clearly told them how.
So many times we'll think we know the game, think we understand it, but when it comes time to explain it, we miss a couple details or miss a step. Don't do that.
Yep.
Practice it out loud if you have to. The other one is to demo the game.
Yeah, if you're going to demo the game, make sure you do it up front so everybody can see it so they know exactly how to play. Also, make sure that if you think of anything a middle schooler student could possibly do within that game and mess it up, make sure you make that a rule or you demonstrate for them so they don't screw it up as you play it along.
But lastly, probably the biggest thing is just to have fun.
Have fun.
We can't overstate how important this is. At the end of the day, if our students are laughing, if they're having fun, they'll want to come back, they'll be able to hear God's message more clearly, and we've done our job well.
Yeah, if you have a good time, they will have a good time. So, we'd love to hear about some of the games you're playing, upfront games, group games, illustrative games, messy games, maybe other games. So comment below and come check us out again.
And you can check out any link that we mentioned, any game we mentioned, product is in the links below, so check that out.
That's right. We'll see you next time in the Youth Room.